OK, well, let's get the view from occupied East Jerusalem now. Rory Challands is standing by there. Rory, so what we're seeing playing out on our screens and on the ground there, of course, this exchange grinding forward. It seems like things are happening on track as they should do. The mechanics seem to be working relatively smoothly so far. Now that the Israeli captives are back on Israeli soil, is there any indication of what happens next?
Well, from what we understand, the Israeli captives are now no longer captives, of course. They are free people. They're back in their home country. We have a list that has just been released from the Prime Minister's office, Benjamin Netanyahu's office, of these people, who they are. We have 3 different families where you have multiple generations of that family. In 2 of the families, it's a mother and children. In one of the families, the Monda family, it's 3 generations. You have a child, a mother, and then a grandmother. And then there are 5 individual elderly women. So in total, 13. The eldest of them, 85 years old. The youngest of them, 2 years old. Our understanding is that now they're back in Israeli territory, they are in a military base, a kind of receiving centre for them that's been set up by the military at a base. There, they'll be looked after, they'll be given medical attention, psychological attention. What happens next, we understand, and I think Sarah was talking about this earlier on, is that they then go to hospitals around mostly the Tel Aviv area, and that is where they're going to be meeting with wider family members, people who've been waiting for them for a long time now to come home. This process that we're looking at the moment, that we're watching play out on the TV screens, this is going to be repeated over the next 4 days. So get familiar with these pictures because we're going to be seeing quite a lot of them, I think. This process of the ICRC, the International Red Cross, putting captives into their branded 4x4s, bringing them down to the Rafah crossing, going into Egypt. From there, they're helicoptered to Israel. And from Israel, they go through that same process, military base, holding centre, and then hospitals, and then families. And of course, we're going to see the reciprocal thing going on the other way with these coaches of Palestinian prisoners leaving Israeli jails and going back to their families as well. The big question, of course, what happens after that 4 days is up? Is there going to be an extension of that truce? Is there going to be an extension of the exchange of captives? Or do we go back to what we've been seeing for the last 49 days, I think now, that terrible bombardment of Gaza, a return to full-scale war?
Right. And Rory, we are seeing the ICRC, the International Committee of the Red Cross, Red Crescent, playing such a pivotal role now. They really are centre stage, as you say, very clearly in this exchange, at least when it comes to getting the captives out of Gaza into Israel, as you say, no longer captives anymore. I wonder to what extent, though, the Israeli military is standing back from all of this, waiting for what happens next when that 4 days comes to an end.
Well, if you listen to the words that are coming from people like Yoav Gallant, the defence minister, he says that the only thing that Hamas understands is force. He says that the fruits that we're seeing of those negotiations, the mediation undertaken by Qatar, by Egypt, by the United States, to get these captives out, to get the Palestinian prisoners released, that is all a result, according to Yoav Gallant, of the onslaught the Israeli military has been waging on Gaza and the people of Gaza. So if you think that this means that the war is over, it's very unlikely that that is the case. The Israeli military are, at every chance they have, asserting that this is a temporary pause, this is for humanitarian aid to go in, this is for exchanges of people from both sides, but the underlying mission that Israel has set itself, that the government has set itself, of wiping out Hamas, that will continue after these exchanges are completed, whenever that is. And that is something that the Israeli public, by and large, I think supports because of the trauma that they went through on October the 7th, the shocks that it sent through Israeli society. All those things that they held to be true, the security that they thought that the state offered them, the intelligence they had over Hamas and what it was doing inside Gaza, all of those things were shaken to their foundations. And so you do still hear some voices for peace in Israel.
Yeah.
You do still hear voices for moderation, but they are sidelined at the moment. And generally what people want is for Hamas to be finished as a military organisation.
Yeah. The voices for peace are sidelined. Rory Challands in occupied East Jerusalem, many thanks for that.